Good morning, dear viewers. I'm right now at the plaza outside the Great Hall of the People, and all of the friends, old and new, gather here for the 2024 Summit of FOCAC. So the leaders from both China and African countries gathered today, and now we are seeing the site of the Great Arrival, and they will be taking the stairs to go into the Great Hall of the People. Today I came here at an early hour, and at around 8 a.m., a lot of guests began to arrive. Some of them walking in a rush, and some of them are taking pictures to memorize this moment. And some of them also said hello to us, and you can see that they are in a very joyful mood. I also noticed that all the Chinese national flag joined the 53 national flags of the African countries in the hall. And China and the African countries actually share very similar destiny and history. So seeing all of these national flags lining up together, we can have a very direct feeling that China and African countries are a big family, and you can feel the synergy that is floating in the air. In its cool breeze of Beijing today, you can feel that this very welcoming atmosphere from the side of the hosting country, China, and you can also feel that this is an embodiment of the cool breeze of culture and also other national assistance from China to Africa. And President Xi Jinping has announced major projects in multiple events to mark this blueprint of China-African cooperation. And this is actually the fourth summit of FOCAC since 2018. This is yet another great event that is held here in Beijing between China and Africa. And this is the biggest event, and we are now welcoming more guests from other African countries than ever. We have leaders from 51 countries and regions in Africa, and also the Secretary General of the UN. Despite our great long distance, we share the destiny and share a future and development together. This morning, the 2024 FOCAC Summit will begin, and the Beijing Summit is sure to become another new starting point for more fruitful results between China-Africa cooperation, and Beijing will be another witness for the new milestone of our cooperation. And CGTN will bring you the latest report. Good morning, dear viewers. This morning, the 2024 FOCAC Summit will be held at the Great Hall of the People, and President Xi Jinping will be attending the opening ceremony of FOCAC. I'm currently at the North Gate of the Great Hall of the People. Later, all the distinguished guests and international guests will be arriving through this gate. Actually, we were here last night at the North Gate, and many African leaders and international guests attend the welcoming banquet, and then we can still remember some of the warm moments, such as President Xi Jinping joined the other distinguished guests to take a group picture. And also, we saw the children and young students performing songs and dances at the welcoming banquet. And what impresses us most is, of course, the remark made by President Xi Jinping at the welcoming banquet. He said that every time we meet, I feel this kingship. And also, I felt that we are a community of a shared future for mankind, and this is a great example of building this shared community. He also mentioned this shared community, the community of a shared future for China and Africa. So this is actually a very precise conclusion and also an important milestone for African-China friendship. China helped a lot of countries to build the first railroad, high-speed train, first cross ocean bridge, and so on. A lot of infrastructures were built through our partnership, and China will continue to support African development in hardships and in development. We will firmly stand together with our African friends. Good morning, dear viewers. I'm right now at the north gate of the Great Hall of the People. Now the first guest has already arrived. This morning, a 2024 FOCAC Summit will be held at the Great Hall of the People, and President Xi Jinping will be attending the opening ceremony and give an important remark. And currently, you can see that the African leaders and international guests are arriving at the Great Hall. An important keynote speech will be given by President Xi Jinping this morning to further enhance the China-African cooperation. President Xi attaches great importance to China-African cooperation and point out important principles of the cooperation. Many fruitful results have been made, and more bright prospect has already been shown. And right now we are at a new stage of building this shared community between China and Africa. China is the biggest developing country in the world, and Africa has the most developing countries in number in the world. And also, President Xi Jinping has chosen Africa to be the first site of visiting after he took office, and he visited Africa for 5 times and attended multiple times the FOCAC and also other multiple events in terms of cooperation. China strives to build a better community of shared future for China and Africa. With a strong leadership between China and Africa, we are now arriving new height in terms of cooperation. So this is an ongoing, very strong partnership between China and Africa. At the opening ceremony, President Xi will be giving an important keynote speech to further state the new concept of building a shared community of shared future for China and Africa. Will be also announcing new measures and principles between China-African cooperation, hoping to take the cooperation to another level. Good morning, dear viewers. This morning, the 2024 Summit of FOCAC will be held in Beijing. So this is not only a great event for the African and Chinese leaders, but also more than 1,000 distinguished guests will join the meeting. FOCAC, since establishment of 2000, provides a great platform for South-South cooperation and China-Africa cooperation, and has become a major landmark for the attraction of more cooperation and investment opportunities. It has brought the cooperation into a new level, and President Xi and the other African guests agreed to build a stronger community of shared future between China and Africa, and China will be connecting to the 2033 agenda of African Union, together with some important projects and blueprint, so as to bring the pragmatic cooperation between the two sides to a new level. With the strategic leadership of the two sides, the efficacy and effect of cooperation has been making new improvement. China is the biggest trading partner with the African Union, and then we have also signed BRI agreements with many of the African countries. Our trade volume has already exceeded 2,080 and 800 trillion, and China will continue to be a partner for African countries in its road to modernization. President Xi attaches great importance to China-African relations. After he took office, he chose Africa to be the first stop of visiting, and he mentioned that China and Africa has always been a community of a shared future, and also he has pointed out this joint spirit of cooperation. And right now, China and Africa is building this shared community of China and Africa, and bringing it to another level. With a joint effort, the FOCAC Beijing Summit will sure to be a successful event, ushering a new era between cooperation and also a better future for this shared community between China and Africa. Good morning, dear viewers. This morning, the 2024 FOCAC Summit in Beijing will begin. And right now we are at the north gate of the Great Hall of the People. You can see that the foreign leaders and international guests are arriving at the Great Hall. Since its establishment in 2000, FOCA has become a group platform and also cooperation mechanism between China and Africa. In the past 24 years, we see the blooming and flourishing of different cooperation projects. This is the fourth forum, and in the previous three forums, President Xi has announced 9 major projects and 8 major plans. So this is the fourth summit, and the summit has returned to Beijing since 2018, and this is also the biggest diplomatic event hosted in China in recent years. Despite the great distance of China and Africa, we share the same future as well as the prospect and the destiny together. So we are like a big family with the African friends. During the summit, China and Africa will continue to carry out discussions concerning modernization as well as the China-African community of a shared future. And 2 major declarations will be passed. In the first declaration, major principle will be announced, and in the action plan, a path of cooperation will also be made public. So this is a very important event to usher in a new era between China and Africa. Will lay out new blueprint for future cooperation. Leaders from the two sides will be discussing the cooperation plan and strengthen communication so as to build us into the next platform. This morning, the Beijing summit will begin, and this will be a new starting point for the further flourishing of the tree of friendship between China and Africa. Beijing will become another important witness to this great moment. Good morning, dear viewers. This morning, 2024 FOCAC Summit will be held at Great Hall of the People. President Xi Jinping will be attending the opening ceremony and give a keynote speech. Right now, you can see that the African leaders and international guests are arriving at the north gate of the Great Hall. Besides all of these distinguished guests, there are also more than 1,000 guests who will be arriving at the hall from the eastern gate. They will notice a very special arrangement. There were trees of pomegranate at the hall, and because this fruit is an important symbol for fruits, and so this symbolizes that this summit will be taken great effect and produce fruitful results. We were here last night to witness the welcoming banquet, and a lot of guests also were here yesterday. There are a lot of heartwarming moments, such as President Xi Jinping and the other international guests took a group photo together, and we also saw the performance put on by young children and students. We also cannot forget President Xi Jinping's speech yesterday, saying that every time he meets with the African friends, he felt this very strong kinship because we have strong connection and high level of cooperation. This is a great example to build a community of shared future for mankind, and we are striving to build the China-African community of shared future. This is an important summary of our past years of cooperation and close partnership between China and Africa. China helped a lot of African countries to build the first high-speed railway, the first industrial park, and first cross-sea bridge. China has always been treating our African friends with sincerity, and we are fighting together in hardships and in difficulties. We are also striving for a better future of development together. Good morning, dear viewers. This morning, the 2024 VOCAC Summit will be held in Beijing's Great Hall of the People, and President Xi Jinping will be attending the opening ceremony and give an important speech. We are now at the North Gate of the Great Hall of the People, and we saw a lineup of distinguished guests arrive at the North Gate. And President Xi Jinping will give an important speech this morning, and attending the ceremony not only include African leaders as well as international guests, but also more than 1,000 important guests from home and abroad. The world is now undergoing profound changes. China and Africa represent the south of the world, and also an important participant of the world history. We look forward to President Xi Jinping's speech this morning, stating an important cooperation principle and new measures for future development between China and Africa. I believe that all of the distinguished guests and media felt the same with us. We look forward to the great event this morning with great confidence in our heart. It's a proven fact that the mutual support and assistance between China and Africa are sincere and tangible. So we are now answering the question posed by history. We are now gathered here in Beijing as a great family. We believe that this summit will carry on this historical mission and will usher in a new era for the modernization of the entire human race. Good morning, dear viewers. This morning, the 2024 FOCAC Summit will be held at the Great Hall of the People in Beijing. And President Xi Jinping will be attending the opening ceremony and give an important speech. We are now at the north gate of the Great Hall of the People. We are now seeing the arrival of the African leaders and distinguished international guests. President Xi has pointed out that we need to continue to strengthen China-African cooperation, and many fruitful results and outcomes have been achieved. We are now building a new stage of cooperation in terms of China-African community of shared future. China is the biggest developing country, and Africa has the most developing countries in the world. And our friendship has also withstood the test of time. And President Xi Jinping has chosen Africa to be the first stop of visit since he took office. And in the past decade, President Xi has visited Africa for 5 times and attended 2 FOCAC summits. And also, he joined many important dialogue and cooperation conference between China and Africa. And in a new time, we're striving to build the China-Africa community of a shared future. With the strong leadership of China and Africa, the cooperation has reached new level. And this is an ongoing cooperation and very strong partnership. In the opening ceremony this morning, President Xi will give another important speech stating the new concept and proposal for building China-Africa community of a shared future, as well as new measures to push forward this cooperation. The agenda will be forwarded and take the partnership into a higher level. Good morning, dear viewers. Currently, the last guest has now arrived at the Great Hall of the People, and the opening ceremony will take place soon. During the summit, President Xi will be taking group photo with the other distinguished leaders and guests. They will walk together through this hall of the flags. You can see that all the national flags, including China, will be placing around this hall. And please follow us for later reports.